For more on Russia's various offers to Africa, including disinformation, I'm joined live from the U.S. State Department by James Rubin, Special Envoy and Coordinator, State's Global Engagement Center. Mr. Rubin, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you very much.
Now, Putin knew of the impact of the war on Africa's food needs, yet halted the grain deal with Ukraine. Now he is promising free grain to some African states. Can the continent pin its hopes on his offer?
Well, I certainly hope that countries in Africa and the people in Africa are not deceived by what's going on right now. Just in the last week, President Putin has destroyed the method we had to provide millions and millions of tons of food around the world through escorted ships that solved the problem created when Russia invaded Ukraine in the first place. The truth of the matter is that Russia has now begun to use food as a weapon in this war, and it is the most vulnerable people in the world, in Africa in particular, who are going to suffer if we don't find a way to get the grain out of Ukraine into world markets. Putin's decision to pull out of the grain initiative has increased prices by 20% and is now denying Ukraine an opportunity to, remember, Ukraine is the country called the breadbasket of the world. And Putin has now shown that he's going to make food a weapon because he's not only pulled out of the grain initiative, but is attacking the facilities, the ports, the rivers, all the places in which grain could be exported. He's making food a weapon because he's hoping that the world will put pressure on the West, when the truth is that Vladimir Putin just doesn't care about the effect that this food potential crisis would have on the most vulnerable populations. He's making them a hostage in his war. He's trying to break the will of the West and the world. When he invaded Ukraine in the first place, he broke rule number one of the international system, and now he's showing he's broken rule number one of international morality because he doesn't care about the most vulnerable.
You know, Mr. Rubin, beyond the rhetoric, can Putin prove that he respected the Africa peace mission that went to Moscow and Kyiv to end the hostilities between his country and Ukraine?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that. Vladimir Putin knows that the negotiations are always possible. He's shown no interest in it. He's shown nothing but willingness to keep attacking Ukraine, trying to destroy its economy, now trying to weaponize food. He's got no interest in peace. He's making a polite response to the African Leaders Initiative because he's trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. The food crisis that they're going to face from increased prices is Vladimir Putin's latest weaponization of food and attempt to intimidate the world. I hope people don't get fooled by it. He's not interested in peace. He launched this war in the first place, and now he's launched a war against the world's most vulnerable people by making food a weapon, attacking grain facilities. Just yesterday, they attacked one facility that had 60,000 tons of grain could have been sent around the world, destroyed by Russian missiles and Russian attacks. The idea that Vladimir Putin cares about peace is pretty laughable.
Interesting, because you mentioned about being laughable. Now, he is also offering to supply certain weapons, as you had us mentioned earlier. Should Africa ask itself, why are we getting these weapons and at what cost? Does this also concern the West?
Well, it does concern the West. I think you saw, in addition, your reporter mentioned that they offered a small amount of food to 6 particular countries. Well, you should look at those countries. Those are the countries where the Wagner Group, this monstrous private military company, has slaughtered innocent people and used disinformation and intimidation to cause terrible problems in those countries. Those are the ones he's offering a small amount of food. Well, 10 times that amount of food each month is blocked because of his pullout of the grain initiative. President Putin uses weapons to try to develop friendships with countries that don't want those relationships examined by normal procedures to see how the weapons are used. So he's creating essentially colonies of countries where he gives weapons and gives food and hopes they'll salute his policies that are doing such grave damage to the people of Africa and obviously to the people of Ukraine.